Now we're trying something that we don't normally do, and that's Pam is with her phone in a hotel room. The lighting is not good. This does not look like a manifest telecast from the studio or a YouTube video that we do outside. But a lot of you have been contacting either on the office or emailing, why hasn't Perry said anything? Well, listen, we were in a conference with 2 services a day. We were in a conference that all day Saturday we were at the Fall Festival. And then we had to get in a plane and fly, fly down here where we're at and go. We were actually at the TV station until almost midnight last night. Just got up, just ate breakfast. So we have not had time at all to come on and make any comments. Now, normally if I was back at my studio, we would be doing some probably YouTube videos. So a lot of people have said to comment on what is taking place in Israel. Now, I'm not going to go over what you have already seen on the news, because the news media is just breaking this story. Probably every 5 minutes you have a new story or a new commentary. What I want to look at is a question that I'm receiving from pastors. I'm having pastors from all over the United States call me, and actually a lot of them are asking me to come to their church as soon as possible and minister, but that's impossible because of plans and things that have already been set out there that we're doing, like this week here, helping with Heart for the World. Now, this has been something that, when we look at this invasion, and it was an internal invasion from the Gaza Strip. Now, first of all, you have to understand where the Gaza Strip is. The Gaza Strip is at the border of Egypt and Israel. It is extremely to the south. I've been to Gaza maybe twice, the Gaza area, in a beautiful town that exists down there, and had one of the greatest lunches during a tour that you could ever have. So it's one of my favorite restaurants. And that area right off of Gaza, where the Gaza Strip is, where the Palestinians are, there's a fence up. There's a lot of security. So the Jewish towns are outside that fence. So for the terrorists that were in Gaza to get into that part of Israel, they bulldozed the fence down and they came in on motorcycles. And so all of the towns that were under attack, which was 22 towns, those particular towns are in the south. So if I were to drive in a tour bus, for example, I'd have to go for miles and miles and miles through nothing but desert to actually get to, let's say, the city of Jerusalem. So that's why last night we were contacting some people on the network, and they were saying that Jerusalem right now is quiet, although most of the shops and stores and things are shut down and closed right now. And when you go from Jerusalem and you head up into central Israel, which is the Valley of Megiddo, Nazareth, and you get into the Galilee, there's not much activity, of course, taking place there. As you get further into the north, where your military bases are near the border of Lebanon and Syria, there's been a little bit of activity up in that area. And the thing is, always in the month of October, there's always something going on in the northern part, and there's always been stuff going on in Gaza. As a matter of fact, every time we've ever planned a trip, which is usually November, every time there's always these rockets that are coming in the month of October, and they have a long distance to go. And Israel has what's called the Iron Dome, which intercepts those missiles. They also have helicopters, which do certain things, and we won't go into detail with that. Now, here's the question. Now, Benjamin Netanyahu, Prime Minister of Israel, they're blaming him. They said, how did you have such an intelligence failure? For 6 months, Israel has been fighting inside of Israel politically. There has been these huge political fights. There has been these huge anti-Netanyahu rallies. There's been all kinds of left versus right. And so I believe that they completely took their eyes off of their actual enemies, and they started fighting among themselves. Now, that's a real spiritual lesson for the church and for everybody else. You're not fighting your real enemy, which is the adversary. You're fighting among yourselves. So as a result of that, and probably numerous other things that we may not be aware of, they were caught completely off guard. So most of your activity is taking place in the southern half of Israel. You can get a map out and you can see that down near that border of Egypt and Israel for about 35, 40, 50 miles in, somewhere in that area. That's where a lot of the little Jewish villages and small Jewish towns have been built over the past several years. Now, the question that I keep getting, or people keep asking me, is this a lead up to the Gog and Magog war? Now, if there's ever been a time She's getting real close to my face, and I have not taken a shower and done my hair, so she needs to be careful. This is the first time that I can ever remember in the 5 or 6 wars that Israel has fought with with Syria, or in the past with Jordan or Egypt. This is the very first time when I have made the statement, this could be the build up to the Gog and Magog war. Here's the scenario. First of all, Turkey has made a statement for the United States not to support Israel. They will regret it. That's Turkey. That's Togarmah in the book of Ezekiel. And then you have Iran, Persia, which was behind it. That's Iran. That's also in Ezekiel chapter 38. Now, if this is a lead up to the war of Gog and Magog down the road at some point, then what you can look for is Egypt, Libya, and Ethiopia, or the northern part of Africa, to begin to turn and to begin to do protests against Israel, and you'll begin to hear activity there taking place. So what the scenario could be, this is only a scenario. This is not me giving you this word from the Lord. I deal with prophetic scenarios a lot. Is that what will happen is Gaza is going to be decimated. They're going to send 100,000 or more troops in, and it's going to be a long, drawn-out thing of trying to find who these leaders were and the cells that were behind it, etc. And Israel can do that, but it's going to take time. It's not going to be, 1 week, 2 week thing, but that's going to all take place way in the south. All right. Now, once they move in, there probably will be some more rockets and missiles launched, but at that point, Israel will know where they're coming from, and they'll take them out. So now most of the leaders of Hamas have gone underground, and they're in hiding. Isn't that amazing? They let their people suffer, but they go in hiding. So they're in hiding, but once again, over time, Israel will find out where they're at. So, but if they decimate the Gaza area, what that does is it builds up support in the Islamic nations against Israel. So in other words, they start coming against Israel for what Israel is doing to defend itself, which they have to do. They have no choice. So at that point, God says about Persia, which is Iran, I'll put a hook in the jaw, but then I'll pull you back. I've always said there'll be a war with Iran before there'll be a war of Gog and Magog led by Iran. So Israel's victory of that area could lead to, and we're not talking instantly, we're not talking about in the next couple of months. This is down the road. The coalition that you read about in Ezekiel 38 coming together. And one of the things that, President Biden have talked about, we need to shut the border down. Well, here's why they shut the border down. It was not about all the people coming across the border, which they've been doing by the tens and tens and tens of thousands under his administration. There was about 1,400 Hamas agents that got through the border. They're now in the United States. And I have close contact with people who have close contact with people, and they said that they believe that they're going to be setting up to attack some of the American cities in the very near future if America is drawn into this war, either with the Iranians or against the Iranians, I should say, or to support Israel in what they're doing, because this is not an operation. But Netanyahu basically said this is a war in that southern part. This is not an operation. So this is different. This is different than anything that you and I have seen, at least in my lifetime, and I don't remember the 73 or 67 war. I was a kid back then, but at least in my lifetime, especially preaching prophecy for 45 years. So the bottom line is that this is just the beginning of something in that part of the world, which will eventually have repercussions and lead to what you read. And according to the Bible, when Gog and Magog happens, only 1/6 of all the military from all those Islamic nations that will be involved in this war will remain after that battle is over. And it actually tells you there that God himself will supernaturally intervene in the warfare. And so we're living in prophetic times. And the Lord spoke to me during our main event. If you haven't got the audio or the DVDs of the main event, I did 3 prophecy messages, brand new, at the main event. And I hope you will get those at some point of time, maybe in the days or weeks ahead. But the Lord shared with me, and I think I shared it with the people, that this is before we knew all of this would happen. Things are getting ready to accelerate to a level we have never seen in our lifetime. And even the Lord says in Romans, in the last days, he'll do a very quick work in the earth, and that's the spiritual work that he's going to do. So we just need to be praying. We need to pray for innocent people on both sides, because there are innocent people that suffer on the Israeli side, and there are innocent people that suffer on what they term the Palestinian side. And I've met some of these people, and some of them are just, they want to work farms, they want to work a job, they want to raise their family. And then you've got that, they tell me in Israel it's 4 to 5% of the radical group, and they're the ones that just keep things stirred up in that part of the world. So it's definitely prophetic. This is a prophetic war, but it's a war that's going to lead to the bigger events that's going to happen in the very near future. So always remember this. God says, I'll bless those who bless you. And so when we bless the people who need help, we're going to come under a blessing. And the second thing is, and this is in the Psalms, pray for the peace of Jerusalem. They shall prosper that love thee. One of the things we've done for years, as most of you know, is we've been very supportive of taking people to the land, and every tourist gives 11 people jobs. A lot of them, those are not just Jewish people. They're Arab people, that Israeli Arabs, they call them, that have citizenships there. And we've always noticed that when we've been over there in the hotels, the restaurants, the shops, the people are so kind and so nice to all of us. And we need to pray for all the nation. We need to pray that God will somehow bring a season of relief from this type of thing that has taken place, which is absolutely horrible. I mean, it's almost like I think last night, Joni's husband, Doug, said something that really stuck with me. He said, these videotapes are not a movie. You're not looking at a Hollywood movie. You're looking at reality. You know, when you see those people there, that's not a movie that somebody's just posing with fake, something fake. And I think we've become so hardened by watching the movies that come out of Hollywood or these other movie production companies about wars and battles that it's just like, yeah, go get them. And we're looking at something real, and it's almost the brain can't determine reality from what's fake. So I hope we're not getting hardened to what we see, and that our hearts are going to continue to stay sensitive. So that's a little update. There's more, when we can get to do more of our videos and some things in the next couple of weeks. We're going to give you some very heavy updates. We've heard some things that are pretty stunning, but I don't have the freedom from the people who told me to release those. It's not making the news. Some of it's about here in the U.S. I do know they're moving politicians all over the place. They're moving them out of Washington, certain politicians, because of threats that were made against them from the Iranians. So it's the last days. What I've been preaching, what I've been telling you all for all these years. And some people say, Perry Stone's crazy. And then it's times like this, they say, well, Mabel, Perry Stone must have been right. I'm only right if I'm in the Bible. Okay, as long as I stay in the Word and not give you all these prophecies and personal prophecies and this is going to happen and that, only if the Lord tells me. If I stay in the book and I stay in the Word, you're going to know what's going to happen, because the Bible has already declared a lot of things in the future. Once again, I appreciate your time, and this will go on, of course, Facebook. I appreciate Pam doing this. And I can tell Charlie has this camera that does like this. Pam's trying to scratch her nose and her foot's itching. It's not funny, but it really is. And she's so sweet. She's my helper, bless her heart. She's doing good. And, has a little knee problem, but she gets around great. She never complains about nothing. She's just a great helper. Amen. So thank you for your time. And I want to tell you again, the conference was wonderful. Thank you all for coming. The services were all powerful. I learned so much from the speakers. It was amazing and encouraged. And so we hope that you'll be able to hear that in the days ahead. Thank you so much, and God bless you.
Ladies and gentlemen, give me your attention for a moment. Did you know the day is coming when we're going to have a cashless system of buying and selling? What has to happen before that takes place? Did you know this? There are 5 things that must happen first before this can be totally implemented, not only in the United States, but on a global level. I compiled some information. I talked to some multimillionaires. I talked to some bank people. And I want to present to you a 2-hour audio CD called The Doom of Cash and the Future Beast Monetary System. I'm going to show you how this cashless form of buying and selling is going to tie into the book of Revelation, Revelation chapter 13. This is very detailed. It's updated. I know there's a lot of this you've not heard. And along with this 2-hour audio CD album, I have another 2-hour audio CD album called Angelic Warfare and Satanic Assignments During Prophetic Seasons. Now here's the fact. Angels are released to minister to the church, to individuals, and rule over nations. Like Michael the Archangel is the guardian angel of the nation of Israel. What you may not be aware of is more angels will be released during prophetic seasons, and more revelation from God is released during prophetic seasons. And that's where the demonic prince spirits, Ephesians 6 and 12, and also in Daniel 10, step in to interfere with the prophetic revelation and to interfere with the process of a prophecy from coming to pass. I was actually going to write a book on this subject, but it was going to be so long, it would have probably been a 500-page book, but I wanted to get it in a 2-hour teaching. And I'm telling you, if there's ever been a teaching absolutely power-packed and loaded, a lot of Hebraic studies, a lot of study about angels. Let me ask you something. What can we do in prophetic seasons when there is this such heavy demonic battle between angels and demons? This is the reason why the nations are shaking. This is the reason why there's mob rioting in the cities. All of this is connected to prophetic seasons that we're in. So I want to teach you about angelic warfare and satanic assignments. Now you can get both of these for your donation of $30 or more, and you request offer FED-144. That's FED-144. And again, $30 or more. But if you order now, I'm going to include a bonus audio CD, End Time Secrets Hidden in the Parables of Jesus. You will love this. So that's 5 hours of total teaching that we want to present to you as the Manifest offer. Help us keep Manifest on the air. Order by calling 1-888-21-BREAD, the toll-free number, or order online at perrystone.org. That's a very fast way of ordering. Or if you want to write a check, make it out to Perry Stone Ministries and send it to P.O. Box 3595, Cleveland, Tennessee 37320. Now, once again, it's $30 for the entire set, and this is a limited time offer, so order today.
If you enjoyed this YouTube content, there's an important website you should know about: perrystone.org. Perrystone.org is an essential resource for the latest books, audiovisual presentations, and digital products from Perry Stone Ministries, resources that cover the same kinds of topics discussed in the program you just watched. Stop in and see all that's available at perrystone.org.